Hello, and welcome to the Fairy Coach Tarot channel. My name is Raquel, and today is Friday. We have a pick a card, pick a deck, or pick a fairy with the weekend messages. What is the guidance of Spirit and Tarot for your weekend? Now, I want to first thank you for being here. Thank you. Every time you watch my videos, you like them or you subscribe, you're helping a small channel and a small business grow. So thank you. You have all my gratitude for that. And the other thing is remind you that I offer private sessions that you can reach out if you want more information on those, or you can go to my website or my storefront at Camp Road for live sessions or pre-recorded readings. All right, let's get started with the weekend messages. Be in a comfortable position, sitting down. It is best if we do these readings in a place where you cannot be disturbed, so your attention and your intuition can connect with the video. All right, roll those shoulders back and let's ground and center by taking a deep breath together. Inhale through the nose, hold at the top for a few seconds. And exhale through the mouth, elongating that exhale. It should feel as if you were blowing a birthday candle, letting all the air out and releasing all the tension. Now, without thinking about it, pick the deck, the fairy, the color that calls you intuitively right now. All right? Ready? Okay. If you need more time, you can pause the video. All right. Now, we always set the intention and tell the cards what we're looking for. And today, what we're looking is for guidance of what is the main guidance of the energies for the weekend. So we have the main advice, right? Would be the main energies guiding that advice, and then we will have specifically for Saturday and specifically for Sunday. All right. So it will end up kind of looking like a triangle, or this is what we're trying because my space is somehow limited here. But this is the spread that we will go for. So let's tell the cards, let's set the intention and tell the cards what we're looking for. We would like to know the main energies for this weekend, what it is the guidance and advice from Spirit, then also specifically for Saturday and for Sunday. And we say a prayer for protection always in love and light for our greatest good. All right. All right, let's get started and see what the messages for us this weekend are. Okay, two cards wanted to come out. We'll put them right there. And this will be, as I said, the main energies. Now we're going to look specifically at Saturday. Again, two cards. I just make sure it's two and not three. All right. And on Sunday. All right. So it seems that, okay, let's go for it. So this is the main advice from Spirit, or from the spirits of the tarot, right? And it comes from the 10 of arrows, and it says instruction, and the 8 of vessels. Now, this is a beautiful, beautiful deck, and arrows means it's the traditional swords, right? And vessels is cups in traditional tarot. So, what is the main energies, or what is the main advice given by Spirit right now for our weekend? And it's the 10 of arrows, the 8 of vessels. All right. So, no major arcana. That does not mean that the message is not important at all. It just means that perhaps it has a lesser impact, right, in a way. But the Ten of Arrows, the Ten of Swords, is pointing out at or saying, you know, um, the weekend probably calls for rest. There has been a lot of energies. That may have seemed challenging, or there has been a lot of conversations or a lot of uh, mental work that probably comes from the week. So this 10 is saying, this be done with your week. So be completely done with the things that you're carrying from the week. So if you're carrying arguments, um, conversations that didn't go so well, or anything, or work, anything that's staying kind of stuck in your mind and you keep going at it, the 10 of arrows say be done with it. Leave your week behind, really disconnect, right? Be done with that week. This is see this weekend, starting Saturday, as a new energy that you want to move forward. So do not get stuck. What it's done, it's done. And now do not carry the energy with you. All right. And the Eight of Cups is kind of also, in a way, confirming that, it's time to move on from it's important to move on from this past energy, because emotionally, our emotions and our thoughts, but our emotions create stagnant energy around us. And not only around us, it's just that the field grows in a way that it's also what we attract, what comes into our life, and it muddles every relationship around us. So whatever has been stressful, and this is what you need to ask yourself: what has been stressful about the week? What conversations have been too much, or arguments, or what's still in my mind right now? And when you answer this, say, okay, this is what I need to release. This is what I need to leave behind. But by being conscious of what is bothering you, that's the first step on being able to heal it or leave it behind. And it says, okay, leave that behind, and leave behind also the emotions that this carry, right? Because it's not only about saying, okay, I'm leaving the stress behind, all right? So we need to transform. The thoughts have become emotions. We need to transform those emotions, and the emotions that are keeping the energy stagnant, leave them behind. Good exercises to do this. It's to be an alchemist, an emotional alchemist, and change the energy by changing how we feel, right? And one of the greatest places to do this is nature. So if you have the opportunity to go out in nature, either for a short walk or just sitting outside, now that here in the Northern Hemisphere, the weather starts warming up, um, doing a fun activity, anything that you can just spend time in nature can be that alchemy for your emotions and for leaving that stress behind. All right, now let's look specifically at Saturday, right? And for Saturday, we have the Blasted Oak, right? That is Major Arcana 16 and the Queen of Bows, and that's the hair. All right, so Major Arcana 16, the Tower, that's why it's called the Blasted Oak, and the Queen of Bows, the hair, that would be the Queen of Wands in traditional tarot. So, what is this card that again can look scary? I always mention the cards that can look scary, but I always want to make the same comment. All right, there are no good or bad cards in tarot. They bring messages, they bring guidance, and it can be looked as a warning, or it can be looked as a message of liberation. So let's look at this Tower card of traditional tarot, the Major Arcana 16. And what here is saying is, all right, so, and we'll see it in the context of this major guidance or this principal advice or that the tarot and spirit has given us says, all right, so the things that need to be left behind and what you carry have taken root, right? So this, it could be, I've been mentioning it could have been from this past week, but it actually could be coming from even before that. So there is something that has taken root in you, right? That it's something that it's not agreeable, that that it has caused this kind of stagnant energy, that it's not serving you, right? And it is time when you leave this behind. This saying on Saturday is specifically the day when you need to liberate yourself from this. So kind of also confirming and following what this is saying. It's time to really dig in. Saturday is the best day to dig in. And what has taken root? What is this feeling that I'm carrying, this pain, this sensation that is actually causing discomfort in a way? So examine that. And the Queen of Bows, it's the Queen of Wands, says, take that, and again it is kind of transformed, because the Queen of Bows is that feminine energy and that fire energy saying, right, sometimes the wounds, right, and there is a very famous saying, and I don't want to butcher it now, but it is saying, where there is the wound, that's where the light enters, right? So this is kind of what the Queen of Bows is saying. Look at what has caused this discomfort, this pain, and these low vibrating emotions, anger, sadness, hurt, whatever it is, and know that by looking at that and by healing that is how one grows, right? And to do that is not to dismiss it, not to invalidate it, is just to look at what has hurt, what has happened. So see that wound and then reflect on that, heal it by giving it your attention, and in a way, and say, okay, it is time to take this and transform it into something that can serve me as I move on, as my weekend moves on, right? So that can be left behind, excuse me, and something greater can grow from this. Bear with me for a moment. I need to drink a little water. Sometimes in the morning, the voice doesn't cooperate. All right, let's look at Sunday. So we have here for Sunday the Five of Bows. And it's again following with wands. And here is the word it brings. It's empowerment, right? So what is this Five of Bows telling us regarding, we're following the story here for the weekend. So for Sunday, the Five of Bows says, sometimes we need to stand up for ourselves, right? Every time you stand up for yourself, you empower yourself, right? That does not mean having to fight or argue with everybody, right? But it is standing up for yourself. And the best way to stand up for yourself in a way that is not aggressive, it is to set healthy boundaries. So in set healthy boundaries with others, set healthy boundaries in relationships, set even self boundaries in a way, right? So this is what it is saying: stand up for yourself. If you know there are certain things that that bring discomfort, that bring issues. On Sunday is about standing up for yourself. So here the reflection that the message from spirits and the tarot bring you is, where do I need to stand up for myself? Where do I need to set a boundary that will help with this thing that has taken root in me and that I'm carrying, that this weekend is the best time for me to let go of it and heal it, right? So this is the main reflection for Sunday. All right, let's recap of the weekend and what is the guidance from spirit and for the tarot for the weekend, Saturday and Sunday. All right, there are things that you're carrying that it's time. It says this is the perfect energy is called for. This is the time to leave them behind, right? To close the door into something that has been emotionally hurting. So that's why it's important that you move on from it. Now, whatever it is, it's something that has taken root in you, and it's important kind of you liberate yourself from it and be an alchemist, right? Know that by healing, you transform that, is that through the wound, the light enters. And so on Saturday, reflect on that. And on Sunday is about standing up for yourself and setting boundaries. So what you are leaving behind, there is a boundary set when you realize what has it been that has created this situation. Boundaries being set so you can move on freely to the with new energy for the week. All right, I hope you enjoyed your reading, your messages for the weekend. Again, please give me a thumbs up, subscribe, and reach out if you want a private session with me or to ask more about my services. All right. Now, let's look at the blue fairy for those of you who have picked the deck with the blue fairy. All right. We're going to set the intention and ask the cards what it is that we want. We would like messages and guidance for this weekend, what spirits advise, and also specifically for Saturday and Sunday. And we want this to ask humbly in love and light for our greatest good. All right. First message. Second, very straightforward. Very straightforward, these ones. Okay. So let's go with the main message. Again, the tower. The tower also came out in the last deck. So when here it comes as the main message, the advice for the week, it is saying it is time to transform something again, right? It is time to say there is something that has not been working for me. So again, it's different than the last deck we were looking at, because there the main message that was showing us that tense was saying, it is something that has run its course, that needs to be over right now, that it's causing some pain and we need to walk away. But here it is more about there is something that needs to be done differently. So now, if you think about whatever it is that is, I don't want to say bothering, but that has been sitting in your mind or heavy in your heart, think about that. Think about the thing that you always keep coming to in the past few days or in the past 24 hours. So that's where you're going to apply the advice, because that's the advice that you are intuitively wanting. And this card is telling you the way things have been going, the way you have been approaching this is not working for you. It needs to, the steps that you're taking, the actions that you're taking, the conversations that you're having, the way you are approaching it is not working. And it needs to be, things need to build up different. Okay? Things need to be done different around that concern that you have. And this is the perfect time this weekend for that. Now, let's look at specifically Saturday, and that's the King of Cups, right? The generous, loving king who is so in charge of their emotions and their emotional life in full. And when in relation to this, that there is something that needs to be approached different, this king is telling you, well, on Saturday, especially, it needs to be approached with love, with care, with tenderness, with softness, right? So, whatever it is that is your concern and whatever it is that is not working, that's what you need to reflect on. But he's saying the approach here on Saturday is that your approach to things has to be gentle, kind, soft, right? Loving. Um, that's uh, that's the approach that this King of Cups is telling you to have. Okay, is a king that is soft, that is loving, that is generous, and that's his advice. Now let's look at for Sunday. What a beautiful card. You've got two major arcanas, and Sunday the message is so beautiful because it comes from the star. The star, the hope, faith, the star, that divine spark that we have in us that guide us, right? And this is what the star is telling you. The star is telling you to approach Sunday with hope, with faith, with knowing that things work out, that knowing that here following this, that love heals, being gentle in a world that is harsh, does not only transform you, but transform everything around your life. And it even transforms the world little by little. So this is what this is saying. There is something that's bothering you, a concern that the approach is not working. The King of Cups is telling you that love, gentleness, kindness, that is the way to approach things that will work best for you. And on Sunday, you get the star that it's all about hope, faith in yourself, in your life, and knowing that anything you do with love has a big repercussion for you, for your life, for your loved ones, and even for the world. So beautiful reading. And what starts with the tower ends with the star. So how more beautiful can it get? I hope you liked it. Very straight messages from the ones that picked the blue fairy today. There is only one card, very straight and forward. I hope you liked it. Give a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel. And again, know that whatever it is that it's a concern that you want us to dig in more, I offer private sessions that are done online, either by phone, on a video call, so you can see the cards, we can talk. And the tarot is accompaniment, so I come with you on your journey. I read the cards for you. The way I read the cards is I interpret them as messages from spirit, and then the cards, they do not predict, they give you advice. You have free will and you have choice. And then is when coaching techniques come in, where it these messages invite you to reflect so you can make the best choices for your life. All right, let's look at the yellow fairy for those of you who have picked this one. And this is a lovely deck, and it's called the Lover's Path Tarot. And it is beautiful. It has beautiful imagery. However, it's one of my large decks, and every time we have one of my large decks, I find it a little bit hard to shuffle, and sometimes I shuffle them like this, others like this. So let's see what this is going to work best for. But let's set the intention. Let's tell the cards what we want. All right. So we're looking for guidance and advice for the weekend, and then specifically for Saturday and Sunday as individual days. We ask humbly in love and light for our greatest good. All right. All right, let's start. Oh, they are jumpy. 2 for our main message. Main energy. 2 again here. And 1 for Sunday. All right. Let's look at what we have for the main advice, main energies. It comes from the King of Arrows and the Ace of Arrows. All right, interesting. All right, so we have the King and the Ace, and this brings a very specific message, right? So we have the arrows, just letting you know that it is this weekend is saying it is time to reflect, or it's mostly about your thoughts and your communication. Okay, it's how you think, how the things that are happening in your life, right? The things that are impacting you right now. It is about how you think of those things, right? What are the thoughts around them? Because those thoughts are shaping the reality of everything, right? So this king is telling you it's time to examine the thoughts that you're having around the things that are impacting your life, right? Manage those thoughts. So manage those thoughts to be very practical. This king calls for being practical, logical, and in a ways kind of detached, right? Detached from the outcome, detached a little bit from the emotions. So if you need to have certain conversations this weekend, or if you feel that there are certain choices, approach it in a practical way, not in an emotional way, right? There is, or there could be, these opportunities that open up for conversations, right? For doing something that will require for you to communicate your stand on it. So this is about clear communication and logical, practical thoughts, a practical and logical way to approach things, and also to be very clear in your communication if there is a conversation that needs to be had, or there is an opportunity coming in, that it's just telling you and it's calling for clarity at this time. Let's look at Saturday specifically. And we have more arrows. Interesting. So interesting. That 6 of arrows and the 9 of coins. So what is these 6 of arrows letting us know here on Saturday? So this 6 of arrow is pretty much saying, it would be wise to not engage in conversations, in discussions, or with people that you know will create a challenging situation for you. So instead of um, jumping in a conversation that you already sense and have that intuition and that gut feeling that, or you have a history with that person and say, hey, this is just gonna go down the rabbit hole in a bad way, or going to a place that triggers you. Sometimes that's visiting a family member or going certain places, right? Whatever it is, on Saturday, this card is saying the wise choice here is to stay away from the things that are challenging and triggering and can cause arguments. Saturday, the energies are not calling for these deep conversations because the weekend, remember, here it's asking you, it is time to manage those thoughts, be very practical, logical, and clear in your communication. And on Saturday, stay away from things that trigger you or that trigger a reaction. All right, so we have moving away from these things that can be challenging and triggering, while the Nine of Coins, is saying by doing this, you're changing the energies around you, and everything becomes your Saturday becomes more successful. You see, things start working the way you want them. The things that this is coins. It's the earth element, so it's physical, material life in the sense that by doing this, by making the right choice here, the energies change and it becomes a successful type of energy and interactions and what you're calling onto your day and weekend. Now, let's look at on Sunday. And Sunday comes from the King of Staves, right? So we finally have a one. So we go from one king to the other. So what is this king telling us? And these staves, ones that it is the fire energy. So what is this king advice for Sunday? So the King of Wands is a very fiery king, right? He's passionate. He knows what he wants. His passion for something, his intention is what moves him, right? So this king is saying, on Sunday, reflect, go into what is it that right now moves you? What do you feel passionate about on Sunday, right? What is it that is that spark in you on Sunday? And because fire is a possibility, right? So the king says, take that spark, take the possibility, take that passion, that fire in you, and approach your day that way. We went from being very practical and logical. That's what's the main energies call for. And Sunday it says take that practical, logical approach, but combine it with intention and the things that you feel passionate or that you want very much, and move towards that. Rule like a king. It's a very masculine energy because it's two kings, and a masculine energy tends to be like this king, more practical, right? This king, the difference is that it's practical in the way they think, right, and the way they speak, and more detached. Well, this king is more passionate, is more fiery, and is more action oriented. So let's recap really fast here so you see. So the main energies, the main advice calls for a clear communication and a cold type of head, in the sense of making choices and choosing your thoughts in a very practical, logical manner throughout the weekend. This is the main energy, is what it calls for. Saturday is saying, hey, walk away from anything that triggers a reaction in you or that can have the opposite effect of this. So you're trying to be detached, clear, concise and logical. And there are some people and some situations that may bring a very emotional reaction. So stay away from that because you want to keep with that clarity and that logical and practical way to do things. What if you follow this advice, what this will bring is success on anything on Saturday that you do. And that moves us to Sunday, where we're still following a very practical and logical approach, but instead of being so much in how we think and how we communicate, here we translate it into action, into doing things that we are passionate about, and setting that intention for Sunday of like, today is the day where I am going to take action. I'm going to do this, or, bringing it into action. All right. I hope you enjoyed your reading. Once again, like and subscribe. This helps the small channels and small businesses grow, and it is a wonderful way to support us if you are or finances are it's not into your budget to buy something from us. Just by giving us a thumbs up and subscribing, that really helps the channel. That really helps our little business. And in my case, I thank you, thank you, thank you for watching and for doing that. Again, I offer many services. That I'm a cartomancer, a tarot reader, right? And a board certified coach and holistic practitioner, energy healing practitioner to be exact. So when I offer sessions in which we use the cards to get guidance and advice, and then coupled with my coaching techniques, we examine what are the best ways to move forward and to make decisions in your life that will help you in the with the concern or whatever is happening at this time with you. So I accompany you, I come in a journey with you, helping you with my cards, my coaching techniques, and even some self-healing, self-energy healing exercises you can do to shift the energy around. So I offer this online, either via video call. We can also do phone sessions, right? And also I have pre-recorded readings for those of you who prefer just to tell me more or less the what you're going through. Then I do a reading very similar to what we're doing now, and I send it straight to you. So it's not posted publicly. That's for you, and it goes directly into your email. And we can do it either video in the same format as now, or audio only if you prefer to have audio only. All right, so there is something for every budget. Visit my website, my Gumroad storefront, or do not hesitate to just send me a message or give me a call if you want to learn more about my services. All right, and again, if by subscribing I do daily shorts, weekly videos, and like this, you get notified. All right, I'm sending you a